bullet hole-filled bridges, chainsaws, drugs, and a hell of a lot of money. This is the story of Robert P Mculloch, founder of cities and nationwide enterprises that altered the fabrics of history. If you want to see how a man basically invented the IPO and how you can build a city from scratch, you're in the right place. Welcome to Money Talks, a show about building wealth and amazing stories from history and the business principles that were applied that will help you become wealthier. If you're interested in business, finance, and the stories of how our business landscape came to be what it is today, click subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so you get updated every time a new video comes out. And now, let's jump into the video. Robert Mculloch was born to a wealthy family in Missouri. His grandpa, John Beggs, made his money working with Thomas Edison. After graduating Stanford, Mculloch started the Mculloch Engineering Company, an engine building company that he later sold for $1 million, which is around $19 million in today's value. Now, it wasn't engines where Mculloch made his fortune, it was something else entirely. Mculloch absolutely dominated the chainsaw market, being one of the first to bring a commercially viable product to market. But Mculloch wanted something more. He wanted to leave an imprint on our world that would be remembered for years to come, but that would not happen just yet. First, Mculloch got into the land development business and purchased 26 square miles in the middle of the desert to be used as a testing site for an outboard motor company he ran. And yeah, he had a lot of companies. And this brings us to what Mculloch was most known for. He now had 26 square miles in the middle of the desert, but he didn't have any way to monetize it. So he put a Mculloch chainsaw factory in the middle of it. But what was next? No one wanted to move to the desert. How was Mculloch going to leave his mark on history if the area was just used for another chainsaw plant? So Mculloch had a barren wasteland on his hands, but it had one thing going for it: a lake. And this lake was called Lake Havasu. Mculloch knew he needed an attraction for his town if he wanted it to be the booming vacation destination he envisioned. But what? A fountain? A park? A tower? No. Too boring. If he didn't figure out a way to get people to his new development, he would not only have wasted the money he spent on purchasing it, but he may never leave the imprint or make as much money as he knew he could. This was unacceptable, and Mculloch was not about to give up on his dream without a fight. Mculloch heard about a landmark for sale across the globe that would be the perfect attraction for his new town, but it wouldn't be cheap, and it probably wouldn't even be legal. You see, a few years prior in England, the people noticed that the London Bridge was sinking, so they listed it for sale. Mculloch decided this would be the perfect opportunity to grab a landmark that would bring his tiny barren wasteland of a city into the public eye and get people to purchase lots for sale. But buying the bridge wouldn't be cheap. In 1968, Mculloch paid $2.4 million, or about $17 million today, for the bridge. But now they still had to figure out how they were going to transport the bridge 5,000 miles and get it rebuilt. And not only that, but they still weren't legally allowed to even build the bridge over a body of water. Turns out, buying massive landmarks from other countries isn't exactly a standardized process, but Mculloch decided he'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. A few months later, that's exactly what he did when he sat down with the president as he tried to get approval to create a canal that would connect with the Colorado River. Without this canal, there was nothing to build a bridge over, and a bridge built on sand in the middle of the desert is not quite as exciting. At first, the president was less than enthused about the entire thing, but eventually gave in. Now that Mculloch had his attraction, it was time for the real work to start: filling lots and getting people to actually live in the desert. Now, in 1968, the news that someone purchased the London Bridge and was slapping it in the middle of the desert got a lot of attention, and deservedly so. Mculloch leveraged the news and the rumors surrounding the purchase and launched an aggressive ad campaign to get people to book flights to Lake Havasu. Mculloch would pay for everyone's flights, meals, and stay, and just ask that they tour the lake and the area. And remember, nothing was built yet. Mculloch and his salesmen sold people entirely on the vision and what was to come. It wasn't long before every lot had sold and Mculloch had validated his idea. But what about the bridge? After all, it was very expensive. How was Mculloch staying afloat? Well, due to another brilliant move, Mculloch actually made money from purchasing, transporting, and rebuilding the bridge before it was even complete. To lessen the cost of transportation, Mculloch hollowed out the bridge and sold the stone to artisans in England, making about $4 million. Yep, Mculloch was in the black before even moving the bridge to the United States. As for Lake Havasu, after selling out lots and getting construction plans from C.V. Wood, the guy who designed Disneyland, the rest is history. It became a thriving community and a massively successful tourist destination. Mculloch again made his mark on history and established his very own desert oasis. He would later go on to die of drug overdose, but not before founding other companies, cities, and making an impact that will never be forgotten. So, how did he do it? Mculloch utilized a few incredible business strategies when pulling this off. The most notable principle Mculloch used for this project, the foundation everything else was reliant on, was leveraging novelty and curiosity to get eyeballs on his idea. Let's face it, people don't buy the London Bridge every day. The attention from the story of a man buying the London Bridge gave him eyeballs and eventually prospects that he used to sell and fund the build, which brings us to his next move, leveraging a presale. Mculloch had a barren wasteland with a lake in it when he decided to build a city. And besides the London Bridge, it's really all he had to show his visitors when he started selling off lots. Mculloch sold the vision of what was to come to his prospects, and this allowed him to be profitable right away, and he didn't have to take out loans or risk building something that no one would buy. And if you remember, Mculloch had made money buying the London Bridge before he even opened the city, and he sold every single lot in the city before nearly anything was built. Mculloch was incredibly resourceful and constantly found ways to turn garbage into gold to keep costs down and profits high. So how do you leverage these principles? If you're launching a new project, think of ways you can create massive amounts of hype and eyeballs. How do you do that? Well, it's simple, but it isn't easy. You do something that no one else has done before that will create controversy, rumors, and gossip. What you need to monetize your product or service is attention, and there's no better way to do that than by attempting audacious feats. 2, a presale. If people won't buy your product without seeing it first, you have a messaging and a sales problem. Great entrepreneurs are able to validate demand, minimize risk, and improve cash flow by selling first and building later. And don't even try to tell me that you can't do this, because Mculloch sold a city before anything was laid out. 3, resourcefulness. Buying and transporting the London Bridge should have been a massive sunk cost. Instead, the project paid for itself and then some, because Mculloch thought outside the box by selling off stone that he wouldn't need to artisans. What waste products do you have in your business that can be resold? What material is wasted by other businesses that you can sell? Well, that does it for today's video. If you're interested in learning more, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you hear about our next video. Thanks for watching.